why are they so worthless? Why are they so bad?
Well, these voting machines are just like any other computer. They're powered by hardware, and software has vulnerabilities. If an attacker, especially a sophisticated one like a foreign adversary, can find one little hole in the security armor, they can get in, install malware, and potentially change votes.
And you found that hole. How easy was it for you to break in?
Well, it's not just me. For the past 15 years, there have been computer scientists and state-sponsored studies all across the country looking into the security of voting machines. And the overwhelming conclusion is that American voting machines just are not built in a way that's secure enough to keep out the bad guys.
Now, is the real worry the hacking of the actual machine and changing the vote count, or is it about hacking voter registration and just making it harder for people to vote?
Well, those are both problematic areas. You could hack voter registration systems so people show up on election day and find they're not on the rolls. But I think it would be even more devastating if someone could get into the voting machines themselves and even change who won. That's what keeps me up at night.
Do you believe that has happened? I mean, so far, we've certainly seen evidence of robust meddling, as Dan Coates said earlier, but there's no concrete evidence that the vote count was actually changed.
No, there's no evidence that the 2016 vote count or any previous American election has been stolen in a cyber attack. But the problem is the vulnerabilities exist. And so it's only a matter of time until our enemies take advantage of them.
Trump says a paper backup is good. You agree with that. Is that something that we could quickly institute for these upcoming midterms? Because for the next 3 months, I mean, there's just not a lot of time left before we all have to go back and vote.
Well, fortunately, about 70% of American votes are already recorded on paper. And there are only 5 states left that are completely paperless. Those states could, if they wanted to, implement paper as an emergency measure. But the problem is that progress so far since 2016 has been fairly slow, and the remaining states are going to have to somehow find the money to upgrade their systems.
Well, and House Republicans just voted down a Democratic effort to increase election security funding. How optimistic are you that these 5 states are going to be able to do that, given that there's already evidence of the Russians meddling in the election again?
Well, states are going to have to act quickly, and Congress is going to have to help them, not only for the midterms this year, but in order to be ready for 2020. The fact is, states need not only resources, but also better guidance on how to secure their systems. And I think there's a potential for Congress to provide that.
So what's your outlook on whether or not the right things will be in place in November?
November, we're going to still have some gaps. Election security is a work in progress, and although I can say things are somewhat better than they were in 2016, especially in terms of awareness, we have a lot of work left to do. Congress needs to give the states guidance, and even this week, this month, Congress will take up a bill in the Senate that's co-sponsored by James Lankford and Amy Klobuchar called the Secure Elections Act. And there's a chance that this is going to create some actually robust cybersecurity standards for elections. We all have to watch carefully to see whether Congress can accomplish that.
Given what we've seen so far this year, what do you think we're at greatest risk of this particular election?
I worry most in this election about attacks that are going to try to undermine confidence in the results. The problem is that our systems are so fragile in so many different components that it's pretty easy to make things go wrong somewhere. And if we lose confidence that the system is recording and counting our votes correctly, well, that shakes the foundations of our democracy.